everybody! My name's Link, and I'm finally back! I'll talk about what happened to me in another video as I want to talk about that separately. So for this one, let's just sit back and discuss a funny little anime this fall season that surprisingly impressed me with its latest episode. Visual Prison is a visual kei musical vampire anime where we follow around the special snowflake Anji Yuki around for some reason or another as he suddenly sucked, haha vampire pun, into the world under the Scarlet Moon, which is basically just a normal world, but now he knows that there are vampires among them and they like showing their titties around. You see, my dear viewer, my short tries with visual kei started and ended with a little collection of Vocaloid songs that fell under the Vanilla Ice project, and I can admit I was a big fan. The pretty and extravagant costumes were a treat as they inject inspiration into my arthritic artist veins. And the music wasn't bad either. They just had an air of not caring what others think, and just sang their heart out with the story they want to tell. Doesn't hurt that they look like the prettiest girl at the ball while they're at it too. So by positive association, I was pretty excited for this anime, cause I thought, even if it was mediocre, I'd still be able to see some pretty costume designs and some new songs to enjoy. And by God was I absolutely right. In my mind, I do associate the visual kei genre with some chaos, mostly because of their busy and elaborate costumes, and that's exactly what the first episode feels like. We're just in it, and we're focused on generic anime protagonist number 48,135,156, and we see 3 music videos all vastly varying in styles. Like, seriously. I don't know if the anime doesn't know how they want to do their performances, or they're making a statement with having only one group song and dance be done in CGI, while the others are done in the usual animation style. And I don't know which would be funnier. Anyway, out of nowhere these guys jump off of a helicopter. They pulled out the world's most dangerous mic I've ever seen. The humans became souls? Another group shows up and does some very questionable things, and then this guy shows up and who the fuck are you? Like I said, chaos. And by halfway through the first episode, I was screaming, what the fuck is going on here? But one thing can be said, my lovely viewer, is that I was having a good time laughing at the nonsense happening. Yes, it made a nil amount of sense, and throwing me right in the middle of this mess filled with eyeshadow and rose petals gave me whiplash hard enough to turn my entire skeleton to dust. But I guess I just knew that it was in the cards when I jumped into the series knowing its inspirations. And I can only offer you a pat on the back if you didn't. Unfortunately, random homoeroticism with pretty boys a series does not make. I would know. I've seen so much. I actively look for it. Visual Prison can't strive off of shooting at the top of its lungs and making the occasional voice crack, hoping that it'll entertain the kiddies for a while longer. Making a story has all these boring bits, like progression and character, and these essentials can't be swayed no matter how much you look at it with your glowing red eyes, like some sort of blood-sucking puppy. And indeed, that seems to be the show's weakest unit. I'm sure I was rather lackluster with selling you on our main protagonist, the character we'll be seeing the most of for the foreseeable future, but I can only piece together the things the show's given me. And a definite personality to the main character seems to be lost in transit somewhere. All we know about him is that he can sing, but can't. But is inexplicably good at it, and now he can sing, yay! They give the barest hint that he really looks up to this one guy, and maybe that's why he ends up in Harajuku in the first place. But the show also doesn't know what to do when he gets there. Because like I said, he looked up to this seemingly amazing singer, but also didn't really have a plan once he got there. Like this is some badly planned backpacking trip. Like, what will happen if that absolute chaos of a concert didn't happen right as he was there and meet the guy he oh so desperately loves? The end? The show's over, I guess? We get the occasional crumbs about his family life, or lack thereof, apparently because they just weren't there. And honestly, I'd rather eat the crumbs off of the bottom of my packaged brownies because I could honestly not give a single shit about this boy. I know what he's for. He's a blank slate that's oblivious to everything around him because how else are we, the viewer, going to know anything about this sexy vampire world if not for the expense of an airheaded twink that's also so special and a once-in-a-thousand-year spectacle that the other characters just have to comply with him? Oh right, I forgot to mention, he's a Dampier, aka half human and half vampy that's apparently both incredibly weak and amazingly strong at the same time. Because he hits like a truck, but you can stop him if you had garlic bread for lunch. Since all the new vampires seems to be pretty much immune to the old weaknesses from common media, Dampiers traded the simple action of entering the door for the ability to twist you like a pretzel. I say I forgot because it didn't make much of a difference what he was. He didn't have some interesting internal conflict about his identity, or question his life up until then, and how this new progression will affect him in the future. Anything is more like a minor inconvenience to him, like wearing a mask during a global pandemic. Except there aren't any store workers that he can be snappy with. Not that he'd have the emotional capacity to be capable of that. But no one was more surprised than me when they introduced the mystery fourth member of this would-be boy band. The one that looked like he wouldn't be out of place in a slice-of-life anime where he's a cheerful class clown, and found myself gripped by his own character story. The drama had proper tension and entertainment value. The mystery was effective, with the scenarios lining up to give you a proper plot twist, making you think it was one thing when it was actually the other. And sad token happy-go-lucky character reveals that he has baggage onto his shoulders, and he uses his happiness as a front until he encounters what he was yearning for, where he shows pain and remorse and desperation. You know, like actual character death. I found myself thoroughly enjoying episode 3, though I won't be able to say if it's because it was actually noteworthy writing, albeit not thinking too hard on the character's reasoning, or the last 2 episodes bore me enough with its monotonous drawl that something that was just alright managed to blow me away. And it's hard to say if that moment of brilliance was a spark in the pan either. Too many times have I seen a show that seemed to have a good hook but failed to follow it up. Either because that was honestly the only standout idea, or they decided to focus on the wrong thing. So truly, for me it's one of those animes where the background characters are more entertaining than the main ones. One last thing. So apparently this issue came up, where an artist was caught plagiarizing from another idol franchise called Aichu, and I felt like it needed to be brought up. I couldn't find any information on who the artist for the visual prison art was, because apparently they admitted to the plagiarism and pulled the sales for the prints. And I don't think this incident represents the entire project as a whole. I'm not here to put any ideas in your head, aside from that I'm always right and that you should definitely subscribe to my channel. So I will leave you with this information so that you can form your own opinion on things. And if this incident happening in the first place is a deterrent or not on your enjoyment or probability of picking up the show or not. All I gotta say is that this is rather lazy in my opinion. Merch, still images unburdened with the responsibility of being drawn over 1,000 times to be animated, of a story about visual K vampires in alternative clothings, and they settled for a uniform set of suits? So overall, the show is really just a by-the-numbers idol anime with that one gimmicky idea thrown in to define the whole series. They are literally going down an idol checklist, like having a mascot character, and an old awesome band that broke up that just reeks of drama, and now the old members are going head-to-head with each other. It's not something you're not gonna find anywhere else. And while there are glimpses of potential in it that seem to flicker and wane once it finally kicked off on episode 3, at times it feels like they're barely got a handle on it. It's done by A1 Pictures, so there's at least a promise that it'll look decent for the majority of the time, and even the occasional Sakuga moments few and far in between, so there's that. There's nothing inherently wrong or outstanding with it, except for some scenes, where, depending on the type of person you are, could be either of the two spectrum, as it flies completely in the middle, probably forgotten after the season, if not even while we're still halfway down the season. I would recommend watching it for the pure spectacle though, for its high energy performances and its ability to swing from drama to action to heartwarming to cute, awkward and abrupt as some of them may seem. And that's it for this one, everybody! Leave a comment on what you think about this anime or if you want to check it out or not. I'd love to see what you guys think. Check out this video on my other first impressions, and my other series where I review and recommend anime you might not have heard of. Are they hidden gems or do they deserve to fall into obscurity? Let's find out together. And as always, don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you liked the video and please consider subscribing for all things weeb and anime. Bye bye!